Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Huge show tonight. A lot of Michigan stuff. Some Ohio State inside information has come our way. We're going to break into that as well. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. Our meetup Saturday at Buffalo Wild Wings, corner of Lane and High Street, right before the spring game from 10 a.m. to 12. Nice and easy 2-hour window. You guys come by, say hello. Can't wait to see you guys. It'll be a great time. If you guys enjoy our show, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Please give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. If you're going to come through on Saturday, I'll be grabbing your phones and making sure you guys give us a quick follow. It's an easy way to help us out, super easy, and we appreciate you guys that do that already. But that'll be a prerequisite to kicking it for a little bit. Say, hey, you take care of us for a little bit, and we'll take care of you guys. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in my good friend at Nevadabuck, Nevada. So new Matt Weiss information is coming out, and he is a terrible human being. What is the latest on the Matt Weiss investigation?
Well, with Matt Weiss, what's interesting is there's been 6 lawsuits. There was just a 7th filed, and what's been kind of notable about this whole thing is that the plaintiffs' attorneys are you're really interested to see what the extent of the damages were, and they've revealed in a filing today that they seized thousands of images from Weiss's devices and from his computers, which indicates there are thousands of potential victims. But the plaintiff's attorneys can't get an answer from Michigan about who was affected. And that obviously, we've talked about that ad nauseum, about giving notice to people when there's been a computer breach, when there's been a problem. Well, the lawyers are now the lawyers are reaching out to everybody to find out everything they can about this, including our website, to find out what's going on with Michigan, because Michigan equipment, the access, the training, and the supervision of Matt Weiss. And Matt Weiss was doing this while preparing, part of the computer crimes were done in the December 21 through 23 window when he was supposedly preparing for the TCU game at Schembechler Hall. So, they're building this civil case, but what this is happening is, on along a dual track, this is really building the case for lack of institutional control for Michigan, because they've created this environment of noncompliance where people were not properly trained, were not properly supervised. You've got recruiting violations. You've got sign stealing. You've got visiting the sidelines of visiting or opposing teams, and then you've got a computer pervert that's going on and hacking into the social media clouds of thousands of co-eds around the country. So while they're building this civil case, and while the feds are building this criminal case, it's actually reinforcing a third NOA, NOI, whatever you want to call it, third Weiss computer crimes investigation that I just received information before we came on here appears to be imminent to drop for Michigan. So if that indeed does happen, and I want to credit Premier Drum at 11 Warriors on this, and he's the one calling that. If that drops here in the next couple of days, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I know that they've been circling around it. They've been looking into it. Did they feel like this really rose to the level of a third notice of allegations, notice of inquiry to Michigan, it would literally be like the death knell for them. And the information that we have is that appears to be imminent. That appears to be something that's going to be served to Michigan very, very shortly. And with these lawsuits, like I said, 7 lawsuits now. The estimates that there'll be dozens of these. It all points to lack of institutional control. It points to a athletic department and a football program completely out of control, that no one was supervising, that the rules didn't apply to, that NCAA regulations, that frankly, federal laws didn't apply to this. And if you think about what happened at Penn State, Cherno and some heinous things with Sandusky and things, but none of that was an NCAA violation. You had to really kind of, draw kind of a crooked Joe Blind, really kind of a nexus between that. But it was talking about a program that was, preparing to win with honor and to protect the reputation of the program. They were even willing to cover up child rape. This is where this goes into that you've got a program that's completely out of control, that these are not isolated incidents, that you've got multiple people, multiple violations of the law, violations, all again, all feeding into a classic lack of institutional control case, which is the most severe penalties that you get for an institution, and that's why I believe that Michigan will be redeemed.
Yeah, I think it'll be very severe for Michigan. I think that they've got some major blood on their hands at this point with the Matt Weiss deal, along with the Connor Stalions deal. I think it's gonna be brutal. I mean, they've got a guy that had a Michigan login since 15, comes on staff for a couple of years, really does some horrific damage to the female population that he's being a pervert towards. But I think it's gonna be this will be very damning to Michigan. Again, 3 letters of inquiry, like 3 LOIs within this short period of time. That's as bad as you can get. Again, with the hamburger thing, I think that they had major issues, and then they obviously didn't address anything. They let it keep rolling, and it was really it's a tough go. Like I said, with what Michigan's been doing, between cheating on the football field, the grotesque stuff off the field. It's going to be really tough sledding for Michigan. Nevada, again, when this 3rd letter of allegations comes out, again, that starts a whole new clock, a whole new year to 2-year investigation. Again, people want to know when the hammer's coming, and I consistently say, look, the thing about it is most people hopefully have never been to court. Court's brutal. It's terrible. We've been there before. It doesn't move at a quick pace. It's actually a very slow pace. It's a very corrupt system. A lot of lawyers and judges and prosecutors get rich, but the people that are actually at the forefront of it do not get any of that. But with that being said, I think that you've got major issues where you're dealing with the fact that you've got a guy who was in the building for multiple years, being a pervert, doing what he did, offensive coordinator, you get rid of him, and then for 2 years he's getting basically ran through by investigators, and these charges show up. So between this, Connor Stalions, and the next iteration of charges, it's going to be pretty grotesque. Nevada, where does Michigan go from here?
Well, again, you have to remember there is a policy and procedure that's set out for these things. I actually think it's fairly quick, compared to the traditional legal system. In terms of, there's an investigation, there's allegations that are presented, they have a chance to respond. The NCAA responds to their response. They set a hearing date. There's then a hearing, and they send it down, and then you can appeal. So, I think this is kind of moving along, rather quickly, compared to most things in life. Um, so yeah, I mean, I really, I don't understand. When people say that, I always kind of either assume they're either Michigan fans, or they're kind of trolling, or they're not following it very carefully, or again, they've never been involved in litigation. Litigation's not fast, and the NCAA, the one thing the NCAA can't afford to do is to not follow their rules. Like, if they go outside their rules and regulations and guidelines and cut corners or leak information or do whatever, they're immediately in jeopardy of messing up their entire case. And then Michigan could seek legal remedies outside of the NCAA. They could go to the courts and say, hey, they're it'd be like a homeowners association or your golf course. applying some rules to you, but they're just doing it unilateral. They're not following their own rules, and they're just being kind of arbitrary and capricious with you. You could sue them for that. So I think the NCAA has been very careful to follow the rules, follow the evidence, kind of go through it. But this Matt Weiss thing, they really couldn't act on it for the longest of time because there was an active criminal investigation going on. So, um, the NCAA couldn't move on that. But now that the indictments dropped, the civil lawsuits are starting to flow in. The NCAA now is free to act, and that's why this is while this investigation to you and me is old because it's been around for a couple of years. The NCAA's hands were tied as long as there was an active FBI investigation going on. They couldn't jump into the middle of that and do that. They had to wait their turn. But it appears this is the third one that be dropping on Michigan, and I like I said, at this point, it's kind of just absurd what's been going on up there, and I just think they've got to burn the whole thing down. They have to start over because I think that the reputation of the institution's just been so tarnished. And you remember, while a lot of people think about Michigan football, there's a lot of things. There's the Michigan health system. There's the big money with the hospitals. There's big money with research. There's other aspects of Michigan that go beyond football, and they're all being torn down by this. And that type of reputational harm, it really permeates the state, affects them nationally. And there's a lot of people in Michigan admin that are not happy about where they sit right now, all because of a rogue athletic department and in general and football program in particular. So I think there's going to be repercussions for this. But the NCAA is not done with them by a long shot. We're just winding up investigation 2, and if investigation 3 kicks off, and I still believe there's an investigation 4 on the gambling side as well. So Michigan could be facing this for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the reputational harm that goes to the entire university and how that can amplify the harshness that comes with the punishment. Again, I lived through Jim Tressel getting fired, and I heard it over and over again. It's like, look, when Ohio State football screws up and there's players getting arrested or coaches doing something with malfeasance, whether it's legit, not legit, whatever, it affects the entire brand. And people, they're in a fundraising capacity, they're in development across the university for the business school, any of the different silos, history department, whatever. They're all going to ask what is going on with the football program, what's going on with Jim Tressel or whoever. And some people will hold their pocketbooks closed until they feel comfortable. They're not going to cut a check and be embarrassed that they wrote a check for a 6 or 7 figure donation, and then they're embarrassed by the fact that they did that because of what's going on with the football team. So that's something that is major with Michigan right now, because you have someone who is a pervert who had a 7-year access to their email system, did some very grotesque things, was hired as a coach for 2 years, fired, within 2 years. And then, this 2-year investigation went through, and they went through everything that was going on. And it's substantial. Like, that's the thing I always tell people. I'm like, look, with court and with discovery and going through hard drives and terabytes and photos and videos, like, that takes years to go through. And it took 2 years to build this whole case up. They dropped the dime on them, a month ago or so. And you can see how prolific it was, how bad it was. And it's kind of the Stallions thing. When they ask us every day, is the hammer coming today? Is it coming tomorrow? It's like, well, like this, when you've got thousands of hours worth of video and text messages and photos and screenshots and whatever, it takes a lot of time to go through all that. It takes a lot of money, these are multi-million dollar operations from a legal fee perspective to go through. And they're going to be gruesome. So again, I totally agree with you with what is going on with Michigan. I think they're going to smash pretty hard. Nevada, we have a few spring practices left, including a spring game on Saturday. Our spring game meetup, Buffalo Wild Wings, corner of Lane and High, 10 a.m. to noon. I'll see you guys there. I'll be there, excited and ready to roll. Nevada, what have you heard this week at practice? Again, they're kind of buttoning it up. They've got a nice easy practice on Friday. Nice spiders, which is the little soft upper shells, to get these guys ready for assignment check. And then Saturday, it is game day. They're going to play some skeleton of a game, so Ryan can get some of these guys in the stadium. What have you heard? What are you excited about as we move forward into the end of spring football into the summer?
Well, I mean, I think that we've still got questions. We still got we walked into the spring football with questions about the defensive line. We walked into spring football with questions about the quarterback position. We walked into spring football with questions about the running back position, and I think we probably still have questions about that. And I think the good news is that for quarterback, we've got two viable options there with Lincoln and Julian that appear to be playing fairly well. And Lincoln's been playing better than I would expect him to, and I think Julian's been doing some nice things. They've obviously want to keep that competition close, but it appears to actually be closer than maybe a lot of us believed it would be coming into the beginning of spring football. The defensive line, we've got talented guys, but we don't have a lot of depth. So I think one of the stories is going to be how active Ohio State's going to be in the portal window, trying to find additional defensive line bodies to kind of augment the guys that we have. Because I don't think Ryan's happy with the. I think he's happy with the guys he has. I don't think he's happy with the number of guys that he has on the defensive line. And at running back spot, I think Bo Jackson's been a real surprise. James Peoples obviously is going to be a guy that's well known. C.J. Donaldson. Um, we'll see. We saw that one unbelievable great run, the burst that we saw him running against air and in shells, and everybody was all excited about that. We'll see how that translates, to the field, because they haven't done all that much work on the running game. I wouldn't say it's been an overly physical spring ball, and the good news is we haven't had anybody injured. The bad news is I'm not sure how much we really, we know about the physicality of the team. Um, and I think that that's a question mark as well. But it's been a smooth spring ball. An abundance of talent in the defensive backfield, in the wide receiver room, on the offensive line. Our linebackers look good. Kicking game looks good. But we got to, for me, and I'm not expecting to hear about any separation in the quarterback room until the fall, because we've talked about that. Ryan wants to keep that one close, but I'd love to see somebody kind of step up. And I mean, I'd love it to be Julian, just from a standpoint of I think he's got more upside than Lincoln. But if Lincoln can beat him out, um, that would be a heck of a story. For this 3-star kid from South Dakota to come out and beat out the 5-star. Or does the unthinkable happen and does Ryan dip into the portal? I mean, I don't want to start that rumor in terms of doing that, because I don't even know who you would go to. I don't even know, I don't see a Cam Ward or a Bo Nix or a Will Howard sitting out there in the portal. I've looked at the kids that are even potentially draft eligible, and there's very few that would even be, I mean, you're not going to get Arch Manning. You're not going to go after Carson Beck to try to, dangle the Cavender triplet up here in Columbus to try to get him up here or something like that. But, I think you ride with the two guys that you have, and hopefully one of them separates and kind of ascend to the throne, take it over, and put a hammerlock in the position. But, for me, like I said, we walked in with some questions. I think we still have some questions, but boy, there's a lot of talent on the team. And I'm excited to see how they kind of close that out in the spring game, to see some guys kind of separate and move forward.
Well, I'm happy that you started the transfer portal rumor and that Ryan Day is going to be in the portal deep. That'll be great to deal with for the next 3-4 months as we get into the season. So the next month until the portal closes. So
yeah, you did.
I'm proud of you.
Drew Aller to Ohio State. I'm calling it right now. Drew Aller to Ohio State.
Is Pantone going to go after him again and then act like he didn't? And Pantone's going to get mad.
Massive new portal move.
When we report that he reached out to Drew Aller, he's going to get upset again, probably like he did a couple years ago after Quinn Ewers showed up. We're like, let's call Drew Aller. And he's like, oh, you guys said that we called Drew Aller, so I can't believe you did that. Like, well, he did, So again, we whiffed on Drew
No,
Aller, and
we're
now
we're gonna
he's
get it. We're gonna get in trouble when Drew Aller comes out trotting out in a Buckeye uniform, and he's like,
like
"Hey, didn't you guys say that I was ass for all those years? You kept saying Drew Aller's ass, my dude." And I'm like, "Yes, Drew, I did. You were ass.
that.
I'm sorry."
That guy Nevada ass on BuckeyeScoop.com.
Nevada
He's like,
ass.
he kept saying all this bad stuff about me. So I kept throwing interceptions and incompletions during the 2 times I started against Ohio State, and I was
He he rattled me.
cheeks. I mean, he was. I mean, 2 years ago. I mean, I don't know if Jim Knowles had the voodoo doll with the railroad spikes that he was driving into his arm between every drive, but like Drew Aller was the most terrified quarterback I've ever seen in Ohio State. I mean, I'm talking terrified, and like Ohio kid, a lot of upside. Again, the best thing in the world is that like the early mock drafts from like December had him going like second overall to the Browns. And I was like, that would be the greatest Cleveland Browns pick of all time, is taking Drew Aller, who stinks. And he's like our franchise quarterback so that he can stink for 4 years. Then we cut him. And then he goes to the Tougaloo Redskins and plays in the XFL or the USFL, or he plays for the Calgary Stampeders or whatever. But again, some guys got it, some guys don't. And again, this is one of the best parts about our lives, is the fact that if any of you guys claim to be Ohio State fans at this point in your life, and you haven't watched John Gruden interview Will Howard, and you still don't like Will Howard, at this point, I just think you're dumb. I just, there's nothing we can do to save you. You're stupid. You don't know what greatness looks like. Will Howard on the John Gruden Hour on Barstool Sports is one of the best scenes I've ever seen, because he's so nails. He's so, he's got that thing to him where it's like, it's like, oh, what are you doing here at Kansas State? Oh, you're shotgun to beer with your center. It's like, yeah, man, I like to go with the O lineman after the games we win, and go hang out with the boys and we drink some beers. And I'm like, it's like, okay, I mean, that's good. I mean, you don't have to have avocado milk and avocado toast and relax yourself. I mean, he was like a dude's dude. And then when John Gruden is like grilling him and making him run a 2-minute drill and making him all these checks where he's trying to get him and catch him, like Will Howard is just absolute aces. He's like, John Gruden. And again, this is, I thought it was really good TV. And again, I'm biased because I love Will Howard. But, John Gruden's got him out there with a bunch of guys he doesn't know. And he said, all right, it's cover three. It's cover three. Oh, it's cover two. Oh, max pressure. And, and Will Howard's checking to the exact correct audible each time and throwing a dime and running the cadence that John Gruden wants. And I was just like, and he's 6'4", 236. He's the exact same size as Josh Allen. And most people didn't think Josh Allen was any good because he played at Wyoming and his completion percentage was like 45%. And he played Iowa in one game and was horrific and was like 7 for 30. And people were like, oh, well, he played one good team and he stunk and whatever. So I don't know. Like, again, I know you watched it, Nevada, your reaction to the Will Howard, John Gruden telecast. Because I thought, people can say whatever they want about Will Howard. They can say whatever they want about Will Howard or John Gruden or whatever. But when you watch that on TV, I don't know how you couldn't root for the guy. I don't know how you couldn't think that he's not a pro. Again, in Ryan Day's words, not Kirk's words or Nevada's words, he's a culture builder for your program. And mind you, he was there for 1 year. But what were your thoughts on that special?
It's a must watch, and again, I'm not of a mind to promote barstool stuff, but I mean that was a really good segment. If you get a chance to watch it, one, Gruden's a genius. He's a Super Bowl winning coach for a reason. One of the best announcers they ever had on Monday Night Football. It's a shame he's not in the game still, but or I should say, coaching on the sideline, because he's a freaking genius. And Will Howard is just, man, what a fast processor! What just a great kid! He's the guy that you want to have running your billion-dollar NFL team, and somebody's going to get a gem there, man. I'm telling you what, that kid is good. I absolutely do not understand the NFL draft. If anything ever convinced me that I don't understand the NFL draft, it'd be that J.J. McCarthy can be a top 10 pick and Will Howard uh, isn't considered a top 2 round pick. So something like I said, I really the draft is going to have so much intrigue. Obviously Kirk and I are rooting because we've got a $2,000 bet with Yoder with an over under of 13 Buckeyes being drafted. We got to reach out to Yoder see if he wants to double that or triple that or something like that.
Ten,
Send him
a
a
hundred,
text.
a hundred times that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Just send him a text and say, hey,
whatever number you want to name, I'll match it because I don't care. I'll mortgage it all because I mean we're gonna get 13 guys drafted. I mean it's a mathematical impossibility at this point. Literally, it's like that. So Cody Simon is getting drafted. Ty Hamilton is getting drafted. Like some of these guys that were like, well, one of these guys has to not get drafted. There's just no chance. Literally none. Again, let's just do the counting real quick. Will Howard, both running backs, easy money. Emeka, so there's 4. Then you go offensive line, Josh Simmons, Seth McLaughlin, Donnie. So there you go. You're at 7. Then you go over to the other side of the field. All 4 D linemen, you're at 11. Cody Simon, you're at 12. And then you look at the DBs, and you've got Jordan Hancock, easy money. Denzel Burke, easy money. And then Lathan Ransom, easy money. And then you've got ancillary guys like G. Scott and Josh Fryer. It's just like it's absolute no brainer, and I can't wait.
Yeah,
For
I think 14's the low. I would say 14 would
yeah.
be the crazy low number.
Well, yeah,
But
because like G Scott is a chance to be a 7th round pick because he was
yeah,
he really tested well, ran well. Josh Fryer I think will go undrafted. Not through any fault of his own, but he's right tackle and measurables aren't great, but he tested. I mean, he ran well and lifted well, but I think guys like that sometimes slip into being a priority free agent. Same with G Scott, but I mean the rest of these guys they're all getting drafted like easy money, simple as can be. No doubt. Like Ty Hamilton, who had one of the best pro days / combine testing performances of any defensive tackle. There's no shot he gets for 250 picks. There's no shot. Lathan Ransom being one of the best safeties in America, healthy, no shot. So those are the 2 that we were worried about, and I think we'll be in good shape. Any other questions about it? We could dig into some super chats.
no, just we got a lot of exciting stuff going on. This Michigan stuff though, every day brings another. You got to follow these court filings because there's so much goodness in these court filings and we've talked about the dates of when White's. I mean, it seems to be a real point of dispute that they're claiming that he had access to the Michigan databases as early as 2015, which he wasn't actually employed there until 2021. So something the plaintiff's attorneys believe that is true, and that's going to be an interesting line of questioning to follow to get some clarity on that. But yeah, lots of good things. 7th lawsuit dropped, and they expect at least 24 more. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I literally can't wait for it. All right, Roger Smith, thank you for the deuce, and thanks for being an ultra member as well. Scoop is on. Beer is in hand. That is really good. Life is good. Portal quarterback ? Nevada OH. Nevada, aka Portal Buck. You are calling that we're going into the portal, digging hard, looking for Drake May, or we might get Drake May from the Patriots to come join college football again. But your thoughts on Ryan Day going after a portal quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's not going to happen for a couple of reasons. One, I think that you've got 2 guys that I think are competent that can definitely play, and 2, I just don't think anybody's out there. I don't think there's a can't miss guy. I mean, I would not put it past Ryan Day. Forget the quarterback position, but at any position on the field, if he finds a can't miss guy that can upgrade, he'll go for it. He's already shown that. I mean, he jettisoned Kyle McCord, who's probably going to be a 2nd round, 3rd round pick in the NFL draft, to Syracuse. He was top 15 in the country the year before, and he gassed him because he didn't think he'd win with them. And I think a lot of people thought that was crazy. The Syracuse coach was kind of flexing on him and spent oh, thanks. Let me know where I send the bottle of champagne. And hey, then we go win the national championship with Will Howard. So Ryan has got gigantic cojones, and uh, he'll make a movie as to. But this year, I mean, the top quarterbacks in the Arch Manning and Drew Aller. That's and it goes down from there. So to say it's a weak quarterback class is being kind. Most of those guys are pretty established. I mean, the guy that I'd go after, you and I both agree, would be like Cade Klubnik from Clemson. That's the guy I like. I liked him at Elite 11. Um, I mean, I like that guy a lot. If he was available, I'd be like, go get him. But I don't think Cade's available. And we don't need to start any crazy rumors about portal QBs. But Ryan's going to look in the portal across the board, and if you can find a gem, he's going to go for it.
Well, that's the thing is like Ryan, again, this isn't like a portal QB conversation. This is hey, Ryan's going to enhance the roster wherever he can. Again, he'll be shopping hardcore for a defensive tackle. Because some of these guys aren't stepping up, and Ryan doesn't, with the portal and with NIL money, you don't have time to wait. And this team's loaded. And look at our receivers, tight ends. I mean, Max Clare dominating this week. Dominating. You go JJ Ennis, Tate, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter. Like, you have to have somebody who can throw in the ball. And so that's on Lincoln and Julian to quell the rumors. But the thing about Ryan, and I've said this a million times, is he's not scared. When we had Devin Brown and we had Kyle McCord battling it out and they both sucked, he was going after Drake May. Hardcore. Drake May's entire family went to North Carolina. He bleeds Tar Heel, light baby blue. Ryan didn't care. Right? Because again, that was, of all the things Ryan's done outside of winning a national title, that's what I knew he was a savage. When he's like, you know what? I don't care. I can develop him. I'll make him better. We have Marvin Harrison Jr., whatever. He didn't care. Going after Drake May. And again, I thought that was fantastic. And again, the morons that cover Ohio State will never report that because they have no sources. I mean, they go sit in the Woody Hayes and they have no idea that Chris Carter is going to be hired onto the staff. Because again, they're fed from the soup kitchen and we own our own 5-star restaurant. So there's a difference. Like, we don't need someone to feed us because we go feed ourselves. But with all that being said, Ryan's going to upgrade this roster wherever he can. If there's some guy that makes sense on the O-line, quarterback, D tackle, D end, he's going to add him. So we got money, And again, if someone makes sense to add to staff, done, over. He doesn't care. He wants to win as many national titles as possible because he's got one, and that's a giant cloak of armor now for all of the morons that hated on Ryan Day, because now that he's got that ring, it's game over. And once he gets 2 of them, then he's right behind Woody Hayes. So he's not going to be shy about it. I'm very happy for him. All right, James Hammond, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. Did Matt Weiss claim after the 2021 game that they ran their basic offense to beat us? Nevada, I don't remember that. Do you?
So what exactly was the what was the question?
Didn't Matt Weiss claim after the 2021 game that they ran their basic offense to beat us?
I don't remember. I don't remember that specific. I mean, there was again, after we lose those games, I pretty much don't listen to anything from anybody from Michigan what they say about that. So I could have missed that. I don't know. Right? So I don't know the answer to that. And here's what we know is that 2021 and 2022 they were obviously like it was the zenith of their cheating, and Ohio State really had no idea. It was unprepared for the extent of the cheating, and so wherever they were running, they were being aided by Connor Stallions and his battalion of people out there with smartphones, taking the signals away from Ohio State. So that happened. That's a fact, not in dispute. As for those comments, I don't know if he said that or not.
Yep, I agree. Deion Jackson, thank you for the 5. With all the things going on at the Cheaters up north, how are they still getting? How are they still getting good recruits interested? Is it NIL? Well, yeah, of course it's NIL. It's NIL, and Michigan's still a brand. So people are still going to go take their turns and go look at them and see what's going on. But I mean, if you look at the super high end recruits, they're not really Michigan's not generating that much interest. So I mean, NIL for the quarterback they just got, sure, but with these guys having agents, man, they're not getting stowed over like they did back in the day. So I think it's NIL. I think they're gonna check it out. But at the end of the day, with all the storm clouds, like why would you go? Why sail into the middle of the hurricane when you can just avoid it and go live in paradise? Nevada, your thoughts with all things going on at Michigan? How are they still getting good recruits interested? Is it NIL? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, one, it's NIL, but two, I'm going to tell you one of the great myths of the last couple of years has been that Michigan is picked it up on the recruiting trail, and Michigan recruiting. Michigan isn't having some renaissance in recruiting. I mean, they're not. They're just not. They've always been where they are. They're kind of mid the 2026 class. I think they're 41st in the 2026 class right now. They're not getting anybody. So what they've done is they've, as a collective, all the Michigan beat writers, and we know the Michigan beat writers move in unison like a herd they're the ones that were saying we don't even know there'll be a notice of allegations on the Stallions thing. There won't even be the NCAA has determined there's no level one penalties, and Harbaugh's extending and he's flying back. So they've been just spectacular on, but they all say it. So what they've done is every time that a kid expresses any interest in Michigan, or any time that a kid, heaven forbid, commits to Michigan, they make it sound like he's the greatest kid that ever walked in. And that's what they're doing. And I believe it's a concerted effort to kind of fire up their fan base, make them feel better about where they are. But their recruiting's not great. It's just not. Go look at it. And it's certainly for 2026. And you can always put the thing in terms of they're just saying to the agents, to the parents, to the kids, hey, nothing's going to happen. The NCAA has been neutered, and you know if and when something does happen, you can portal out. You can instantaneously change your mind and leave. So I think that's kind of how they're playing it. I think kids that aren't as astute, aren't don't really know exactly what's going on. But Michigan's not having great recruiting success. They're just not. So go, and like I said, go call up the 2026 class right now and look at how many commitments they have. I mean, the Michigan boards are littered by fans going, why aren't we getting? Why is Ohio State getting all these guys? Where are all of our guys? I thought Larry Ellison was pumping hundreds of millions of dollars in the program. Um, so yeah, Michigan's in trouble, and they haven't even gotten to the bad part yet, and that's when it's really going to get bad.
Agree. Chucky White, thanks for the deuce. When is the WHAC renovation finally happening? I have no idea. They've been trying to renovate the WHAC for 15 years now, I think, since probably 2010, because they don't have enough space and they want, kind of a standalone building for football, which, most programs have. We don't. We share our facilities with a lot of the Olympic sports and with baseball and everything. So I don't know. I mean, they've been wanting to, the problem with the Woody Hayes is that it's landlocked. So there's not a lot of room. You got to go delete one of the practice fields, delete the parking lot. I think that it all comes down to the fact that, a lot of the football coaches, I think, would like you to have independent offices away from their teaching offices, like an NFL structure. Like most NFL structures, like if you're the offensive line coach, you have your own independent office upstairs. And then downstairs, you have an offensive line meeting room. Where at the Woody Hayes, it's the same thing. So that's fine until you're watching recruiting film or doing something where you'd like privacy and your kids start showing up to watch film, which again is great. You encourage Jeremiah Smith or Brandon Innes or whoever to come watch film. But if you're watching tape of, a recruit and you got to evaluate them and they only use the same projector, it can get a little hairy. So again, that's something short-sighted by the people that designed the WHAC. Again, our football facility it's pretty for people that don't know what great looks like, but it's lagging behind some of the amenities of some of the bigger schools. But again, we're also won the national title last year with it, so it's not that bad. Nevada, in your estimation, when is the Woody Hayes Athletic Center renovation finally happening?
Well, I think now that Ross Bjork's on the game, I mean, it's going to happen. And they've been circulating renderings and people to high end donors and things like that. And I really think that's got some momentum. The last thing that I saw was a thing where they said the last piece that they need is they need to dig up our tree in the Buckeye Grove. If they remove our tree, they'll have enough room to do this. And so, on behalf of you and me as co-tree owners, I told them it was okay to remove our tree from the Buckeye Grove so that they can put in one extra parking spot for the assistant director of athletic development or something like that. So they'll be once that's done, Kirk. We'll visit. We'll have like that little Charlie Brown Christmas tree that we'll carry around like a portable tree or something like that, and we can wrap the blanket around it and stuff. But sorry, tree's gonna be gone.
Well, it's fine because they've already demolished the Nevadabuck Family Tennis Center sign, and they gave Jerry Emig a parking spot for his
God.
his
Golf cart.
his golf cart, or for his his Fiat that he probably drives because he doesn't do anything and he's worthless at what he does. So again, they might as well take my tree down if they're going to take down your tennis center sign, because again, what does it matter at this point? We have to have enough room for our kids to be able to have their meals and their cryotherapy and everything else. But yeah, it'll be interesting because again, those renderings have been floated around for 10 years now. So, and again, I was very privy to the fact that we were told that we had the worst facilities in the Big Ten by somebody who was recently fired by the football program. And again, like I said, I haven't been to a million football facilities. I played in the NFL. I was in some beautiful facilities. I never thought the Woody Hayes was that bad. I just didn't. And again, I know that you can put on more glitter and have bigger rims or tint the windows or whatever, but like it seemed like it was a pretty nice building. But for whatever reason, the study that was done by Ohio State to compare it to all Big Ten facilities, it said that we were second to last. I was like, I can't imagine that Purdue or Indiana have better facilities than us. But again, I could be crazy. I could be scarlet glasses on or whatever, but I didn't buy it. Chalky Way. Oh, excuse me. D Sunny, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. I love you, D Sunny, because you are very astute and sharp as a tack. Thanks for the 5. Oh, was that Versace cologne you put on, Kirk? Do we have a new scoop sponsor? Yes, Nevadabuck actually used to date Donatella Versace back in the day, so she put me in touch with her.
Oh,
She sent me
God.
a swimming pool full of Versace cologne, so I dive into that before every show, and then I dip this little canister that I got on Temu of Versace. I literally it's called Versace Man. And they named it, and Donatello actually named this after Nevada because he's such a man that he said, I'm going to name a clone after you. I'm going to call it Versace Man. So thank Nevadabuck for that, because he has been killing it, bringing in some of these great sponsors. So Nevada, thank you for the Versace sponsorship. Thank you for taking one for the team, because as the great saying is, all gave some and some gave all. And we have infinite Versace clone because of Nevadabuck. So I appreciate you, Nevada. Anything to add to that?
No, yeah, we all have lines, man, and that's the bright line for me would be for Donna Versace. That'd be I'm not sure what that was or what that is or what that's about, but yeah, that's a bright line for me.
Is it a bright line of maybe she's had some plastic surgery, maybe not? She's
Maybe. I'm not even sure.
87 years old.
I'm not even sure what that is. That's like a wildebeest. That's like I saw that
She,
they brought back dire wolves from extinction or something like that.
they
And I'm
brought
like,
back
that might
after the dire wolves is going to be Joan Rivers, baby. She's next.
oh
She
man.
come back.
Oh
Talking
man.
about I've never had any work done. And she's like, it's like, yeah, I feel that. I feel that stuff. Thanks for the 5D, Sunny. After all of the Michigan scandals are over the clean house, will there be any questions unanswered? I hope we get the full money trail. I hope so too. But I mean, these investigations take a long time to happen. So I don't know. I assume we'll get some nice answers. But Nevada, do you think we'll get the full answers and all of the money trail once all the scandals are uncovered in the clean house? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know if we'll get all the answers, but with these civil lawsuits, you're going to get more. So, you've got criminal, you've got civil, and then you've got NCAA. So you've got three kind of prongs all hitting there where we're going to get a lot more information than you normally would. Um, yeah, I want to know how it was financed. Even though I feel like we've got a pretty good handle on how all that happened, I do want to know how the money flowed exactly, what the kind of genesis of the whole thing was. But the problem is that Stallions is delusional. He's never going to come clean. He's going to lie to his. I mean, he lied. He sat there on the thing talking to the NCAA, saying, "I don't remember if that was me on the sideline in the Central Michigan game." So anybody who can do that is just a shameless liar. And he was doing that as an employee of Michigan. And this is a guy that was employed by Michigan on the sidelines in disguise at an opposing team's game during the 2023 season. And Michigan fans ask me, well, are we going to keep the national championship? No, you're not going to keep the national championship. That was during the 2023 season, guys. It's gone. Get used to it. There's a giant asterisk. That thing's going to be vacated. There will be no champion declared for the 2023 season. It's just going to be a blank. That's what's going to happen. Mark it down.
I agree. Dougly TV, thanks for the 5. Best places for parking this weekend. Also, thoughts about Lincoln outperforming Julian. The Blackwell Garage is great if you guys are coming to the meetup, which is from 10 to 12, Buffalo Wild Wings, corner of Lane and High. I usually park at the garage next to the Blackwell. Get there super early. I mean, if you get there 9, there's not going to be any line. You just go in, pay the tab, $5-10, whatever it costs, and you're good to go. You're in a garage, nice and safe, nice and easy. Walk over to Buffalo Wild Wings, like an eighth of a mile away, right up the street. Super simple to do. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Also, thoughts about Lincoln outperforming Julian. Well, I mean, I don't know. Spring ball. Again, I go back to Nevada. I go way back to 1 year ago when people said that Devin Brown is beating out Will Howard. Way back machine, long time ago. Hard to jar the brain. Devin Brown looks better than Will Howard. Will Howard stinks. Terrible. And then, he ends up winning the national title. It's going to be a second round pick. So, again, spring ball is worthless as it can get. People that try to evaluate stuff on it, it's fine because there's nothing else to do. But I think that, you get into summer, fall camp, games, then you can figure out who's real. But I don't know. Lincoln outperforming Julian during this is like, it's like watching guys take batting practice and saying, well, this guy's a way better baseball player because he had more home runs in batting practice or something. Like, doesn't really make any sense. Nevada, your thoughts, best places to park this weekend? Again, you'll echo the garage. Also, thoughts about Lincoln Keenholz outperforming Julian Sane. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, just I don't put a lot of stock in that. I think I have gotten it from multiple people that Lincoln has been better than expected. But you're exactly right. If you go back and you read all the stuff from a year ago, I mean, it was like, people were really questioning this. What did we do? We got Will Howard. We let McCord go. Devin Brown's better. I mean, there was a lot of that talk coming out of spring football. So I don't put a lot of stock in that, and I think that I personally think it's going to be Julian in the fall, and I really really am rooting for Lincoln to make it a dogfight. I would love there to be two viable candidates to play quarterback in Ohio State because I just think it'll just make everybody better. If you have two guys that can actually play, that would be a great blessing for Ohio State to have, especially in a 16-17 game season where inevitably you're going to need somebody to step in and save the day for you at some point in the year. So I hope it happens that way, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock in anything right now because just a long way to go, and there's vested reasons for Ohio State to put out the word that Lincoln's having an unbelievable spring camp. So just always remember that.
Yeah, because we don't want him to transfer. So it's a neck and neck race, and everybody's amazing, and we got to keep everybody here and go Bucks. And so, again, you got to give Lincoln the illusion he's going to win the job because he might win the job. But again, when you say Lincoln's been killing it and it's amazing, like, Why would he transfer to Iowa or Akron or Kent State or wherever when he has a shot to stay here and win the job and throw it to JJ and Carnell and Brandon Innes and Max Clare and the rest of the crew? So again, Ryan Day's biggest challenge over the next month is to keep Lincoln Keenholz on campus. Period. Unless you go out and get Arch Manning or some superstar to transfer there. Period. Doug Lee TV, thanks for the deuce. How does Jack and JT compare to Chase Young, though? Not in the same universe. Not from my perspective. Again, Chase, I thought, was maybe the best defensive end that's ever played here. Went second overall in the draft. Dominating player. He's been injured and underwhelming in the NFL. I think that he's been nowhere near what we thought he could be or would be. Some due to injuries, some due to effort. I mean, he just didn't play very hard when he was in San Francisco, and he got a nice re-up with the Saints for 12 or 15 million bucks per year, which is amazing. But a guy like Chase with his talent should be signing for Myles Garrett money, like $35-40 million a year. But he's been injured and somewhat ineffective. So do I think Jack and JT could have a similar career to Chase Young? Sure. If they get the right system, they start, they produce, they could both be as good as Chase. But Chase is going to start off way higher just because of his draft prestige, second overall pick. Traded to the 49ers, was not good with the 49ers. They benched him. Went to the Saints, had a nice year last year, got an extension for a year. So we'll see. Nevada, how do Jack and JT Tuimoloau compare to Chase Young? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Jack and JT are going to be better than Chase Young in the NFL. I know, hot take, but I mean, Chase has been a little bit underwhelming, a little bit, bugaboo with the injuries. And I just think Jack and JT are just classic. I actually think they were held back by the OSU system. I think they're guys that'll be double-digit sack guys in the NFL. I think we'll watch them and go, wow, we didn't know they were that good. I think some guys get better in the NFL and some guys get worse. I think Jack and JT will be two guys that get better in the NFL, play better, make more splash plays, and play in the NFL for 10 years and make $100 million each. So that's kind of how I see it.
D Sunny, thank you for the 10. Michigan has always been great at propaganda. I didn't know until I was growing that Schembechler never won a national championship because of the famous quote, "Those who say we'll be champions." Yeah, Michigan has been experts at propaganda and promoting how great they are and what they do. But they don't win a lot. I mean, 97 to, 2 years ago, they hadn't won a title. And before 97, it had been a long drought for Michigan. So, yeah, I think that they live in their own world and they're about to get smashed. Nevada, your thoughts? D. Sunny, again, appreciate you. Says Michigan's always been great at propaganda. Didn't know until I was growing that Schembechler never won a national championship because of the famous quote, "Those who say we'll be champions." What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I mean, it's a cult up there with those guys. I mean, it's a cult, and I just think they've kind of worked themselves into this hole where they were so desperate to win that nothing else mattered. It didn't, all their ethics went out the window. Everything's gone. But no, look, they've always been good at kind of spreading this story about Michigan football. Oh, our recruiting's great. Oh, we're champions, and they've got half a national championship in the past like 50 years because that one in 2023 is going to be gone. So I know, and that's going to be hard for a lot of Michigan fans. It's going to be hard for them to deal with, but you can't do what they're doing. I mean, the extent of what the wrongdoing up there in Michigan, I mean, it's almost without precedent. I know it is without precedent. I mean, it's to me, it's far worse than SMU or any of the schools that got death penalties because it's just so pervasive. I mean, it's gone beyond staff. It's gone through multiple head coaches. I mean, their current head coach was on NCAA probation when he destroyed evidence in an active NCAA investigation. I mean, that's where we're at now with Michigan football, and that guy's still coaching the football team. So I feel like I'm in bizarro world right now, but Michigan's about to get it, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I agree. AJ, thanks for the 5. Number 2, Ohio State men's lacrosse versus number 3, Maryland at the sold-out lacrosse stadium Saturday next to the WHAC. Nevada, did you see the glove controversy that happened?
No.
So
What was the counter?
Ohio State had a guy wearing white gloves, and you have to wear the same gloves, I guess. So Maryland's coach asked the official, "Do you have to all have the same gloves on?" Which he obviously knew was a violation. And so in overtime, there was like a foul and a penalty, and Maryland got the possession, and they went down and scored. So it was actually pretty heated. It was a big viral moment. And again, I know that you're not viral, and I know that you barely know how to turn your phone on. But on Twitter, it was like this big hubbub about this Maryland coach who narked about, the one guy in Ohio State was wearing white gloves and everybody else wasn't wearing white gloves, but it cost him the game. And so the get back is this weekend. So I think
When
it's
is
Saturday. It's
Saturday?
Saturday.
So
I think it's after the spring game because the baseball team's got a game, and I think lacrosse. I think that they're all trying to feed into the people that leave, the stadium instead of going to B-dubs. They're going to go to one of these two games or whatever. So yeah, I don't know what time lacrosse is, but I know that baseball is like at 3:00, so it's like literally right after the spring game if you want to walk over there. But yeah, interesting. And again, I'm not a lacrosse guy at all, but I thought that it was interesting that they had that big issue and it was a big rivalry. And the Maryland guy that scored they have like it's like the NHL, like when you score in overtime, the game's over. So the Maryland guy scored and he did the shh to the whole sideline. So he might catch a racket across the ACL, which I think would be amazing. And if someone from Ohio State's football or Ohio State's lacrosse team does that, I will send you to an NIL deal for Buckeye Scoop. The guy that did holler
we'll
at
send you
me.
a T-shirt. We'll send you a
We'll send
T-shirt.
you a T-shirt and a bucket of coffee beans. It'll be great. So, but yeah, I go out and support the lacrosse team. That'll be a heated game after everything that went on. So again, I'm not a big lacrosse guy. I'm not a basketball guy. I'm not a wrestling guy. A football guy. That's it. But I love seeing our lacrosse team doing excellent. So Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts as we head off into the night?
No, just the Michigan stuff continues to get worse and worse and worse. And like I said, when you have fun, just kind of go through all the filings from the civil suits are all online. You can go check those out, and that will provide you with hours of reading pleasure and enjoyment. And it just gets worse with every reading. And the best thing is, if you're an Ohio State fan, is that the worst is yet to come for Michigan. So stay tuned and buckle up.
Absolutely. Let's wrap this thing up. All right. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate you guys. This Saturday, Buffalo Wild Wings is hosting us, corner of Lane and High on campus, the Buckeye Scoop massive meetup. Can't wait to see you guys and hope you guys are doing well. So again, I appreciate you guys so very much. And again, this has been a massive show. Make sure you guys give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. Again, I appreciate you guys for all that you guys do, spreading the good word. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you guys on Saturday. It'll be a good time. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. And thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow night, 7:10. See you guys then. Go Bucks.